I'm back with another video here focusing on the variety of home delivery food services, today focusing on a review of Gobble. If you've watched my videos before, you know that these services range from very high complexity and high time involved in terms of preparation and cooking to very low or negligible, such as freshly. I suggest to you with Gobble is that it's on the lower end of the spectrum. Some of the work is done for you, so thus it's a little less work than what you'd expect with some of the other services. So let me first begin with the unpacking experience of Gobble. Okay, so we'll take a look at here of the unpacking of Gobble. This is some information about the soup. So I ordered a couple soups. It looks like you have to add water to it and then cook for a few minutes, so we'll see how that works. The recipes: miso glazed salmon, General Tso's chicken, or General Tso's chicken, depending on how you pronounce it, and then Tandoori, paneer, kebab. So one thing I'm noticing initially is that these recipe cards are half the size, or maybe more, a quarter of the size of the other ones. So it looks like, I mean, already this, we'll have to see how it goes when we cook, but already this looks shorter. 3 steps, not that the steps couldn't be long. This one also has 3 steps on it, and then the miso salmon, the same thing. So we'll have to see, because if these involve multiple steps each, obviously that could impact the cooking time. So recipe cards, a little bit of information about the service. There's something that, let's see. Something in here that's kind of sticky. I'm just wondering what's going on there. There's something that almost looks a little bit gummy on here. On the, I'm trying to smell it. Maybe it's, I hope it's from the ice packs. It's pretty sticky though. If you look at the top of the insulation, which looks like a cardboard. So it's kind of messy. I don't know what's going on. We're going to take out the ice packs and hopefully whatever's in there is not an issue. So a little concerned about that. I don't see any issues with this package. This is for the miso grilled salmon. So it looks like the ingredients here, these are the noodles, the sauce for it, some of the veggies, and then probably the protein is to be found below. Still looking for a mystery leak. This is the Thai coconut curry soup. You can see the soup is here that we'll be adding to the water, and then it looks like there's a lime there. Okay, so this is chicken breast, must be for the General Tso's chicken. And we have the salmon. Salmon here. Everything seems fine so far as that mystery leak. I'm not sure what it was. So I'm already seeing an issue here. I think that, I'm trying to see if that's what leaked. These peppers look like they got smashed a little bit, and we're getting, yeah, I think that's it. I mean, it's the sticky residue. That could be what's going on here. Yeah, so you could see here, we're getting leakage from the peppers. It's just a little bit, but it's enough to kind of make a sticky mess. So that's a bit of an issue. We'll have to see if that affects the cooking of it. I guess I will. It's probably okay still, right? It's been, in there with ice, refrigerated and everything, but that could be a bit of an issue. I'm trying to see if anything else is leaking in there as well, but you can definitely pick up that we're getting leakage all over the container for the General Tso's chicken. Okay, so it does, I have to say it seems pretty minimal down there. I'm not detecting a lot of, I'm just looking at there's three more ice packs on the bottom. It's well packed. So that's probably okay. And then this is the last one. This is for the paneer dish, the Indian dish. The label's on the bottom. Well, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, unfortunately, it looks like we don't have So unfortunately in this package we don't have the label for the paneer, and obviously we could figure that out. We could take the recipe card and just determine that that's what's in here, but we don't have that recipe card. The other thing that occurred to me, I have to check out my soup. I ordered 2 servings of soup, so I'm just hoping that that indeed is 2 servings of soup included. Okay, and then lastly I ordered chocolate chip cookies. And what I'm trying to figure out on these is, do I put them in the freezer or not? Okay, it says here, okay, so I did find that. It says do not thaw cookie dough in advance. So it looks like I'll just stick these in the freezer. So we'll have to see how their chocolate chip cookies are. Okay, so we'll take a look at the first of 3 recipes I'll be featuring here from Gobble. This is miso grilled salmon. They have a very attractive recipe card. One of the things I don't know if you can tell is it's front and back. It has nice color photos, but it's about half or a third of the size of all the other services recipe cards if they have them. And you can see here these are the steps on the back, 3 steps. I will say with Gobble, although they often have just 3 steps, some of them, the steps within 3 steps can be multiple steps. So it may be the case that you actually don't have truly 3 steps with each of the meals that you're cooking with Gobble. Okay, so the first step to look at what I'm doing here is you take the salmon fillets and you put them in a mixing bowl and you take the miso marinade. So this was a time-saving thing, right? The fact that you already had the marinade. You then have to work on, this actually involved, I thought, a few steps. You have to wash the vegetables. You have to thinly slice the shiitakes. I'm not doing in the same order necessarily as the recipe card. You also have to slice the green onions, and you have to trim the bottom off the bok choy. Wash the leaves, pat dry with paper towels. So, there are a few steps certainly here within step 1. So that's why I question whether it's truly 1 step. You see there that package of stir-fried vegetables already cut for you. So that's a time saver. They definitely have time savers with Gobble. So you're basically frying those up in some oil. And this is actually, we're on to step 2. We're basically putting all the veggies in there, and that's about 3 to 4 minutes. We're going to then boil the water, if you see the water boiling there on the left, and that's for the purposes of the soba noodles, and those are basically just going to be flash boiled for 60 to 90 seconds. And I'm still doing up some of the frying here. And the whole time I haven't showed you that, but we've been basically taking the salmon fillets that we marinated in the miso marinade, and we cook those in the oven at 475. It's always, I think, a challenge cooking proteins. Salmon can be easily overcooked, and that's always hard. But you can basically see then there are 3 components to the dish: the protein, the noodles, the stir-fried veggies. You combine them at the end, and I have to say, overall, very good flavor. It was a dish that I thought had a nice, balance of flavors. It definitely had that Asian characteristic to it, and you see the finished product there. And not terrible as far as the amount of cooking time, other than, I think, cutting some of the veggies initially. Okay, a second recipe we tried was General Tso's chicken, or Joe's, or however you say it. Maybe you saw the interesting Netflix documentary about the origins of General Tso's chicken in the United States. Fascinating film. So this is a version of that. 3 steps. Again, the steps maybe are a little long. The first one is you have to basically put together the whipped eggs and the flour mix, and then you take chicken, which is already diced, and then that creates the batter. And then essentially the second step is you fry the chicken in hot oil, and that doesn't take that long. The next step is there's a bit of a time savings because you put the brown rice in a microwave safe bowl for a minute. So the fact that it's pre-cooked I thought was pretty key. You see some of the ingredients here. Then the third step is you basically fry up the veggies, so the red pepper slices, and then the snap peas, and then you add a few of the sauces at the end. So let me look at the recipe card in the front. They say that it should take about 10 minutes, and so I think probably closer to 20 minutes, but pretty quick. Again, what they're doing is they're cutting some of the time because of that pre-prep on things like dicing the chicken and also the rice. This next dish was absolutely outstanding, Tandoori paneer kebab, and I did the version of this. They allowed you to do an outdoor grill cooking method. So the paneer is already pre-cut. You have a slew of veggies, and basically the idea is you make these kebabs. So the big step is you take the veggies and you basically marinate them in some tandoori mix. You then stick the veggies and the paneer on skewers that you've soaked in water so they don't burn. Stick that on the grill, and I found that took maybe 10 minutes or so. Then you take the turmeric rice and you again stick that in the micro for 1 minute, and the two chutneys are already made for you, and they include some lemons. So what you can see is with this particular food service with Gobble, they do a lot of the steps for you ahead of time, and I think it's actually more of a time saver than what Terra's Kitchen is doing, and I'm not sure why, but I just think Terra's Kitchen has a more involved approach, even though they do a lot of the chopping for you. The flavors of this one were absolutely out of this world. It was a great dish that would stand up in any restaurant, so I was totally blown away. As I've been saying, Gobble, in terms of the time, is much less than the Blue Aprons and HelloFresh, and it's obviously more than Freshly. Now, this is pretty cool. You can do add-ons. This was a chicken curry soup. It has a lime, and I was mistaken. All you do is boil the bag in water. You don't add water to the soup, and this is 2 servings, and you just cook it for about, I think it's about 10 minutes in boiling water, and you pour the lime on top, cut the lime, pour it on top, and it is it's a really outstanding. The chicken was tender. It had just all the nice sort of Thai, like a tom yum soup kind of recipe. It was really outstanding and was 0 time. It was basically like Freshly. Now the third thing, which was kind of cool to try out, so we tried out a soup, the classic meals. This was their cookie dough, and this was really easy. So you just take the cookie dough, it's frozen, you stick it on, I always stick it on a Silpat, non-stick French thing, and you cook it for the right amount of time. I think it was like perfect at about 12 or 13 minutes, and let me say, these were absolutely outstanding cookies. So they were great. They were, perfect as far as the chocolate and the texture and everything. So really good. And so I like the fact that with Gobble, you can actually do some of the cooking. Again, I think a lot of the meals, you can get them close to 10 minutes. I don't know if it's quite 10 minutes. The fact that they have the smaller recipe cards and only 3 steps, even though the 3 steps could be multiple steps, was definitely appreciated. It was something that definitely gave you an opportunity to cut some of the time because of the pre-cooking of the rice, some of the other things there as well. So actually didn't realize that was a video, so there you go, there's the cookie. I thought it was a still photo the whole time, and then it started to move. So here's a look at the menu for the week. One of the things I really love about Gobble, aside from the fact that they do cut the time, is that they have the ethnic cuisines. I think they really are onto something here, doing the Asian, doing the Indian, Southwestern kind of cuisines. It gets boring just doing like all of the American, which is what I've found with Freshly. This is pretty cool. So we had the soup in the middle. You can also get a mac and cheese. You can get a lentil soup, 2 salads. Those look really good. A few more soups on the top. and also you can get garlic bread. So I thought this was pretty cool because basically you could supplement your meals with some lunches. You could supplement your meals like with an appetizer, with a salad course, with a soup course, you know, the mac and cheese if you wanted a snack at night. This was really cool, and Gobble, I think, is onto something, allowing so much variation and add-ons. And these were pretty reasonable. They weren't that expensive to add the soup on, to add the cookies. You can choose between 1 or 2 servings. So I really felt like they were onto something here in terms of giving you the options to go beyond just the dinners. They didn't do breakfasts, so far it's just what I found freshly doing breakfasts, and I guess they're not as maybe profitable. And this shows you again the other add-ons, so you can also do a drink mix. You could do the martini mix there in the second row, and then the top there are 2 types of cookies to choose from. So, you know, overall I would say Gobble is a very strong service. It has, with that paneer dish that I mentioned, some of the best flavors of any of the services I tried. It comes in a close second, not a close second, it comes in second to Freshly as far as the prep time. Again, Freshly is just throw it in the microwave, with the exception of their soups and of course the cookie dough. Those are quite quick indeed. But overall, I think it's a good option if you're looking for something that involves a little bit of cooking, very good flavor, but not a lot of time. Then I think Gobble actually could be your service. It was one of my favorites along with Freshly, just because of the dynamics of how long it took to cook and so forth. So I hope you get the chance to look at some of my additional videos looking at the mini food delivery services, as well as checking out my final comparison video of all the services.